It was so surprising to me that you had the childhood you had based on the outcomes that you've accomplished in your life. And as someone that has followed you for a very long time, I imagine that there's many other people that have followed you for a very long time that have no idea about the early context. For those people, can you take us back to the environment that shaped you into the man that you are?
Well, I think, I grew up in a tough environment. I had 4 different fathers. My mom was a very intense and passionate woman. We never had any money. We were very, very poor. My mom was probably the most important influence in my life by far. Very loving woman, but a very stressed woman. And under that stress, she drank alcohol and took prescription drugs. And when she did that, she became very violent. So I took the brunt of that and then figured out how to manage her emotions, basically. That's where all my beginning training really happened. And yet at the same time, she was loving and she pushed me. She believed in me. She wanted me to be something. So she influenced my life in so many beautiful ways. And then probably what changed my life the most, though, is my fourth father especially made it clear no one gives a damn about anybody else. We lived in what I thought was an upper class community or city, but we were on the other side of the tracks. It was lower middle class. We were, literally right by the railroad tracks where the worst of the worst lived, so to speak. And so we kind of looked down on. And so it really looked like nobody cares. And then the thing that changed my whole life, a single event, was a knock on the door on Thanksgiving. We had no money, no food. When I say no food, we had crackers and peanut butter, but not a Thanksgiving dinner, right? And my dad mom are screaming each other through a door, and my dad had lost his job. You get the knock on the door, and I go open the door, and there's this tall guy standing there with 2 bags of groceries, one in each hand, and at his feet, he had an uncooked frozen turkey in a pan, And he said, "Is your father here?" And I was like, "Just one moment," And I was like, it was Christmas morning, so I go to my dad, and I go, "Hey, Dad, there's someone at the door for you." And he goes, "Who is it?" And I said, "I don't know, it's for you." He goes, "Well, you answer." I said, "I already did, it's for you." So he goes over there, and I'm waiting like with such excitement for him to open the door, and he saw this man, and he was not happy. He looked at this man before the guy said a word, and he said, "We don't take charity." And he went and slammed the door on the guy, but the man had leaned in because of the groceries, and it hit his shoulder, and it bounced off, which made my dad even madder. And they said, sir, he said, "Somebody knows you're having a tough time. Everyone has tough times. They want you to have this food for your family for Thanksgiving." He goes, "I'm just the delivery guy." And my father said, "We don't take charity." And he pushed the door again. But this time, because the guy's leaning, his foot now stepped in. It hit his foot and bounced off. And then now my dad's getting more fired up. And I'm standing looking at this whole thing, and it's like a car crash happening. And the guy said something to my dad. I thought my dad was going to punch him in the face. He didn't say it meanly. He said, "Sir," he said, he saw me. He said, "Don't make your family, suffer because of your ego." And I can still see it like yesterday. My dad's veins on both sides of his neck were just pumping, and he was red as can be. And then he just dropped his shoulders. He took the groceries. He slammed it on the table, and he slammed the door, and he never even said thank you.